Hello, my name is Mark Anthony Dubose Jr., and I was born July 4th, 1986. Today, I want to talk a little bit about the concept of miracles and what that's all about, what that means. Something that I noticed that we as people today is the Bible says that there's going to be a time in the day that people are going to be looking towards miracles, and that's the only way that I'm going to believe. The only way I'm going to believe is if something miraculous happens, not even someone coming back to life. That's not enough anymore. That's just like normal, that's average. Because in reality, more and more that you think and look and figure stuff out, a lot of people have a story of someone in the hospital that was hurting, that was like, there's no chance. The doctor told them you got 3 months, and somehow they pulled through and they lived for another 66 years. Pretty much everybody has a story like that. So the concept of bringing back someone to life really isn't meaningful anymore in reality, because we seem to have that go on a lot. And even if it isn't real, we got a lot of deception that goes on to try to show that to be real. But there's a lot that goes on that pretty much everybody has probably known someone of some sort of story that someone died and then they came back to life. So it's not much of a thing that kind of gets you to think like God is real. A lot of us have been in situations where you've seen, again, a sick person and they were healed. Just like in reality instantly. Like you're just like, how did they go from that to that? Like what's going on here? Pretty sure a lot of y'all have seen the situation that something has happened where someone was down and out. They were hurting. They were beat down, destroyed, and they lost it all, and lost the house, lost the kids, lost the wife or the husband, lost the vehicles, lost it all. And then yet they were able to turn around and come back and be able to get it all and gain it all and do it all over again. And that's like still not a miracle in someone's eyes to say like that God is real. So it makes you question, like, what is it that is going to have to happen for someone to believe that God is real? And for me, I'm just going to say how it is that I know that God is real, because I get to see Him and see it and see them all day, every day with what it is that I do. That somehow I'm still here. Somehow I'm still pushing forward. Somehow I'm still able to just keep on doing. Even though sometimes it seems like things aren't working out. It's like today, I had a situation happen where I'm just like, God, it's like, why does it seem like everything, I'm just going to talk for a second about how I was speaking today and when things go down. It's like, how come it just seems like things just don't want to line up for me? It's like I'm trying so hard and I'm doing what I can, and I'm really, really good at what I do even. And someone sees what I do and they just try to take advantage of me sometimes, and other times they just don't really value what it is that I do, and other times I got a lot of things lined up and then everything just falls through. It's like, what the heck is going on here? Why is it that I'm doing and trying so hard and things just fall through? Then I come to realize and stop and think and really put it down and say, I still have another chance today to continue to keep on going. Why isn't that enough? Why is it that I'm seeking to try to have and get and be about more on my timeline? And my timeline thinking that I need this now and I need that now or else. I need this or I need this or else. Or if I don't get it now, then God doesn't believe in me. Or I don't or believe in me. Yeah, I don't believe in a God, that there can't be such a thing. As opposed to just realizing that no matter what's happened to you, no matter what, some people run into the situation that they end up killing themselves. That's a very, very devastating situation. But for the mass majority, that's the small exception in the reality of that happening. Every single time that happens, it's a devastation. It's devastating. But that's not the rule of thumb that we all are on and living by today. That no matter what has happened to us, we still have a chance to be able to make it. No matter how the bills got piled up and you're like, I can't get through it, I don't know what's going on, yet somehow you're able to make it the next day. You're I don't know how to eat, I don't know where to get my food, but yet somehow it follows through and you're able to get it the next day. You just keep on being able to go and go and go. And for some of us, for me, thinking about me and my age of being 37 years old, somehow I've made it this far. That's like, it's incredible. It's not a lot of time in the eyes of what God is all about and the unlimitedness, but to a human being, that's an extremely long time, especially considering just a couple hundred years ago, living to the age of 37 was like a hard thing to do. We didn't live that long. And if you did, I was already broke down, beat down, couldn't walk, broken leg, already half crippled, can't function. But I'm 37 years old and strong as all can be. And it's just an absolutely incredible thing to think about. Like, I've somehow been able to have a right amount of food to be able to get me to where it is I am today. That I'm here. I'm surviving still. I'm still able to make some things happen. For me, that's where I see God. When I come out here and I do work and I play with these animals and I'm looking at the trees, I'm feeling this wind, I can hear this thunder coming in, I see God. when I look out of my main field and just looking at it, just growing again. It's just, this has never happened out here. This is the first time ever that it's regrowing. That's something that I did say. I said, God, you know, I don't feel like feeding my cows hay this winter. I'd like them to be able to eat some grass. I see grass growing and I'm like, there's God. I just seen some lightning just blow up right there, right in front of me. And it's just that, I see that and I'm just like, there's God. When I just see the things that are just going on, when I hear those stories about how someone got out of the sickness, how someone got out of their debt, how someone got out of their hunger, how someone got out of their abusive situations, how someone is able to still keep on going. I'm like, I see God. I see him doing what he's doing. I see him moving all the time. Even if you don't believe in him, he's still moving for you. That's the number one thing that I realize and recognize about how powerful God actually really truly is. You don't have to pray to him at all, but yet he still gives you food. He still gives you somewhere to stay. He still gives you water. He still gives you the availability to be able to want to do that drive, that passion, that desire to want to keep on going. He gives you so much, even if you don't care about him. He gives you all this rain. He gives you all this. You can just walk around in nature. You can do what you do. You start to get real clever. You know, we don't do this anymore nowadays, but build houses, your own house out of the own lumber that's on the own land. And being able to do stuff like that and being able to actually be able to live. Like God didn't, he's giving you that without you even caring about it. With you even like spiting him and saying, I hate you. I don't want nothing to do with you. He still gives you the availability, the resources, and the skills to be able to live and to be able to continue to keep on going. I don't know, it's just an interesting thing for me that I see God everywhere I go, in every scenario and everything and how everyone ever speaks to me. When someone says to me, I'm hurting, I'm struggling, I'm destroyed, I see God. You know why? Because you're not always going to be in that. And then for me today, when I'm just thinking like, man, things just aren't following through. And it's like, I see God because it's his timeline, especially today, the way that you start to change up a little bit when you start to rely upon, you start to ask God and start to put God in your life. And I'm no longer the one that's in control anymore. And I'm allowing God to be able to take that control. So when I'm like, I want this appointment, I want to be here, I want to do that. God says, hey, you know what? I know you want that, but there's something over here that I need you to do. And then you're going to be able to go over and do that. That there's some things that are lined up to make sure that in reality, to make my life easier. And that's one thing that I'm going to say is take the worry out of your life. The worriness turns to anxious, and anxious turns to anxiety, anxiety turns to depression, and anxiety and depression could turn to the thought of, I don't want to be here anymore. And that's a trickle down effect of a lot of things that go on that just kind of force you and pushes you further away from God. That's why God says that don't worry. Don't worry. Stop worrying. Stop worrying so much. Let the worry out because you're going to be able to have and be able to do what it is that you want to do. But the main thing is, a lot of times we're just stuck today and thinking like, I want it, and I want it now, and I want it the way that I want it, and I want it the way that I want it to look, as opposed to realizing that that may not actually be what's good for you. And if God did give you those things that you wanted now, you may actually end up hurting yourself more, as opposed to being able to make sure that you're using that to be able to not for only help yourself, but others, but mainly just to help yourself. Because there's been many times that people run in situations that they've been able to gain and get, but they lost it in a way that they lost themselves. They didn't just lose the resources, they actually lose themselves, and they push themselves further away from knowing and trusting and believing in God. That's why we let the worry go. We drop the worry, we get the worry out. And then when you start doing that, you start to follow. Because in reality, that's something I was talking about today that just really gets me thinking. The concept of following or being a leader. Following is in reality a thing that human beings are just really good at doing. That's why we don't have that many like boss CEOs and owners of companies that are hiring hundreds of thousands of people. There's just not that many. There's like 1 out of a billion in reality that are doing that, because there's like literally just a few people that are technically managing all the money and the resources on this entire planet right now. It's just fascinating to think about. But it's a very tough role. Not that we can't do it, not that we shouldn't even try to inspire to do it. But to do it is something that is the most challenging thing, as opposed to just having a good job. A good job that's going to give you a good pension to be able to give you some good insurance and some very good health care, all up, eye, dental, and health and everything else. You got everything taken care of, and you got good vacation, you got good time off, and you got good sick, you got all that. That's in reality a very easy life to live, because things are going to be set up for you. You're going to show up, and they're going to say, okay, you got to do this, this, and this, and this. And you don't even really have to think too much in that. You just go and you just get it done. You don't have to like think about all the background things and this thing on this side, that side, over on this side. No, you just show up and you just do what it is that you're supposed to do. It's already been designated for you. That's why working at like a, say, fast food restaurant type place. It's super simple, because they just say, put you here, and they say, work this machine, work this thing right here. This is all you work on. And you're like, Oh, okay, I could do that. And you do that. And it doesn't take you long to learn that skill. You just learn it in about 15 seconds, and they're like, oh, you're good, and you're on your own, good to go for another 8 to 12 hours. It's some super simple stuff. And it just, in some ways, is very, very satisfying to be able to actually be able to perform, and being able to do it, and being able to get done. And it's an interesting thing, because that's what I see how God works, when you just let the control go and just allow him to just take it. Because when you take your worry out and you put all your everything onto God, you don't have to like worry so much of how things are going to work out. It's just going to work out. You just have to trust and have faith. That's the biggest thing. It's that faith in Jesus. That's the part for me that just really is, I'm going to say, probably the hardest in reality, because it's kind of easy to have God be in God's graces by doing works, because you know if you're doing good, and then you kind of know if you're not doing good, because you're staying on these commands, you're staying on these laws, you're staying on the decrees, you're doing it all. It's kind of like you could tell where you're at on this field here. But when it comes down to faith, you don't really have that anymore. You have to just trust. You just have to believe. You just have to know. You just have to just accept the fact that you are the one that is not actually able to do and gain and get that extra that you think that you really want. That God's the one that's going to bring that to you. And at the same time, it's not always like magical great things. It's life lessons that we need to learn. Some of us are further along in their life lessons than others. Some of us have learned certain life lessons at the age of 2 years old, and another person doesn't learn it, and it takes 40 years to figure it out. Or a 2-year-old is just, bam, right through it, out of it, good to go, and they're on to that next. So there's a lot of life lessons that we need to learn to have a real good understanding of having that true, solid faith in Jesus. And that's not something that is, I'm going to say, in reality, very, very simple. It's not easy. It's not easy. It's not easy to just give up on yourself in a way and say, God, you got it. You got it, right? You're going to bring me some food. You're going to bring me some shelter. You're going to bring me some satisfaction for me to be able to live by, so I'm not depressed, I'm not sad, I'm not anxious, I'm not worried, I'm not any of that. I'm going to be good to go. It's hard to put that upon a God and not think that that's going to be within your own control to be able to do. That's some very, very challenging stuff. And then at the same time, it could be very, very even more challenging when they say good things do come to you. Because then you start to get big-headed, I guess I could say, is you think that you did it on yourself. You did it. You made it happen. You did that. I did this. And you stop praying, you stop asking, you stop speaking to God, and you start thinking that you're that one that's in control. And that actually pushes you further and further away. And a lot of times that's more likely why you're not having the same success that you're looking for, because God knows if I give you this, you're just going to take it, run off, and forget about me. You're going to go and do this and do this and do that and just not even care about who I am anymore. And that would be a very devastating thing. That's why it's got to work in small increments in reality. God's gonna put some on us and then put a little more on us and then put a little more on us and put a little more on us to see where we're going to go, to see what we're going to do. It's a absolutely amazing thing to be able to be a part of, but it's hard. It really is hard, because you're trusting something that you can't actually see. You can't touch, you can't feel, you can't hold, you can't even communicate with. The only way you communicate is by reading the Bible, by asking some questions and reading it up and seeing what God has to say about it. But it's not an actual, like a one-on-one intimate relationship kind of communication that's going on. So something that's really hard. But I believe that that's the more of a reason why and what Jesus is all about when he's saying there's a wide gate and a narrow gate. That there's that wide gate that folks are believe in God, believe in Jesus, but you're not actually putting your total faith into him. You believe and you understand the stories and you get excited and some feel goods when you hear about it, and you go to church and you're woohoo and feel all right for a moment, but you're not actually putting all of your faith in. You're just putting some. And Jesus is asking and requiring us to put all of our faith in, to put all of our trust in, to put all of our belief in, knowing that that is the way, that is what it is. That it's not just a here and there sometimes. Well, when good things happen, it's God. When bad things happen, I don't know what that's all about. Not realizing that good and bad comes from God to teach us something, to show us something. And maybe not even to teach you something, but to teach someone next to you something as well. God moves and he works everybody, believers and not. So you can't think that things that are going on in your life are just for you even. It could be a life lesson for someone else next to you. And God, knowing that who you are and what you're all about, knowing that it's not really going to destroy you. It may slow you down. It may hinder you. It may damage you in a way. But it's not really going to mess you up, because God's going to be able to bless you again in reality right away. So everything that's going on this planet, when you have faith in God and just give it all to him, things are going to not always like want to come out to be the way that you want it to be. But I have a good understanding of realizing that it's going to come out the way that God is looking for it to be. And it's for me to just understand that, accept that, and believe that, to be able to have what it is that I want to be able to have on this planet, which is peace and compassion for one another, and learn how to love more in a responsible way, and not in a way of just allowing people to just do what they do and say that it's okay, knowing that it's not, knowing that you're messing up, knowing that you're not headed the right direction, but being able to show out some serious love. And sometimes the conversation isn't going to always be so sweet and so pretty and so awesome. It's going to be a conversation of something that may challenge you, may make you rethink everything about life. But a lot of times we have to go through that to be able to move on to the next steps of our life. That's why for me today, I don't know what it is, but I had it in me that I got a little defeated feeling for a half a second of I don't know why things just aren't lining up the way that it should be lining up. I should be way further along today. But that's when I say to myself again, after I went through this rampage of, who the heck do you think you are, Mark? What do you think that you should be doing that's so great and so wonderful? Why don't you just keep living in that process and keep on going? Something I had to say to my own self, I've come to realize. But I was just saying, like, I'm just not where I know it is I should be. I was headed doing something and it was going very well. And then all of a sudden it just completely dropped off. And just fell off like crazy. And then now I'm trying to slowly get it to bring it back again. I'm just like, what happened where that dip came in? That things were good, and then a dip came in that it just basically just quit. It failed in reality. And then now it's just slowly coming, and then it's still just stumbling like crazy to be able to get there. So for me, it's just to have a good understanding that there's a reason for that, and there's a reason behind that. And today, something simple happened that in reality allowed me to be able to get what I needed for my animals and be able to get done for my animals in reality. That something got a hiccup. And seeing this rain, it's about to rain. And when it rains like this, I can't get what I need to get for my animals dropped off and to be able to work with them. So I even kind of just slowed my own self down with seeing that. Like, and I was on a go. But I have to like take a step, man. Take a step. Realize that there's more going on this planet than just me. That there's a lot in motion that's happening. And then while that motion is happening, it's me helping someone else as much as it's helping me. And someone else that I'm helping them, they're helping me. We're all doing this out here collectively together. Because in reality, that's kind of the only way that we're really able to live successfully on this planet, is by working with each other and helping each other and do stuff for each other. Not just doing stuff for your own self. Doing stuff for your own self, you're gonna fumble and stumble, and you're gonna end up in an absolute tragedy in reality. You gotta rely upon people. And that's where I put more of my faith into relying upon God, knowing that God's going to line that up for me. He's going to make it work. He's going to figure it out. It's going to get done. It's such an interesting way to be able to live that you get these little ideas in your mind of ooh, I should do this. Maybe I should do that. Maybe I should look this up. And it's something for me to say today, like, pursue that and look at it and get into it. Stop running away from it. Stop running away from the things that you know that you should be doing. Because sometimes, and majority of the time, most of the frustration comes to us is because we're running away from those things. We said I wanted something as simple as this. They said we wanted to clean the house, but I still haven't done it. I'll do it tomorrow. And then you don't do it. I'll do it the next day. I don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Now it's been a week late. Now you start to get in this frustrated state. You start to get in this anxious state. You start to get in this very nervous in this state, as opposed to just getting it done. And that would all be solved and all be good to go. There's a lot of things that we do on a day-to-day that's like that. And that's trying to us be doing what it is that we want to do, as opposed to doing what it is that God is asking for us to do. He's in reality not demanding. He's just asking. He's like, hey, you want to have that? You looking for that piece? Okay, here it is. Here's the start. Here's your first step to be able to get there. And then we just reject it. We run from it. We ignore it. We don't pay any attention to it. And that's why we are ended up in this absolute level of frustration. Because that's just something that I see God when I'm saying I play with animals, and I work with, especially when I work with some dogs. I see God in dogs, because the foundation that I use on them is a foundation that God has written down in His Bible for us as humans to be able to listen to. And when I see an extreme level of success with a silly dog, I'm like, man, what kind of success could I have in myself if I pay attention and I put faith in and I put trust in? It's the one thing that I require of every dog that I work. Trust me. I'm telling you, I'm gonna give you everything that you want. I'm gonna keep you safe. I'm gonna get all the sticky situations away from you. I'm gonna give you better and abundance of food. I'm gonna give you a very good place to sleep and being able to live. I'm gonna give you a lot of fun playtime, a lot of exercise, a lot of being able to express yourself. I'm gonna give you a lot. Just trust me, believe in me, have faith in me. And I see these animals just transform into absolute greatness. And for them, it's a neat thing because it doesn't take long. Because in reality, they don't have that extra thoughts of like, I don't know and I'm unsure. No, they see a good leader and they're just like, I'll hang with that, I'll work with that, I'll go with that. Where us as humans, we're much more complicated because we think way more. Dogs are like not even an infant child in reality. I don't care how smart they are. Our really intelligent Border Collie here, he's smart, but he's nothing compared to what a 1-year-old baby is able to do. Us as humans are extremely intelligent, extremely capable. We have minds that are just, we don't even know how to explain it still to today, how amazing our minds are and what we're capable of doing. That we are some very, very smart, intelligent beings compared to just everything else out here that I work with and play with. Every single animal out here, they are nowhere near. They're nowhere near. It's like 1 to 1,000 plus on where we're at together on how these animals function. They're smart, but we are amazing. And that's what makes it, say, even a little more complicated for us to follow God, to have that true whole faith, because they're always like, well, what if? And how about this? And how about that? And I don't know. And I'm unsure. We go through all those stages as opposed to just running into it and just accepting that. Because like I said, I see God when I work in all of this stuff. It's just these trees and everything that's out here. And my cows, especially my cows just this past couple of days, are just seeing what we were going through. When they're looking at me and relying on me and I'm not able to give them what they want at the moment, they're just like, oh man, I don't know. And then I give them what they want. They're like, dude, you follow through and then you extra follow through every time. That's how they're looking at me right now. I've over followed through. Where they're just like, you the greatest. And that's what I see as what God is for us and what we do. That when we just put our faith in him, we're going to be like, wow, dude, you overdid it. You overshined. I know you're the one that created all this, but you kind of overshowed yourself right now. And that's for me the miracles, I guess I can say, I see on a day-to-day basis. Not something that is just once and here and there, but things that just happen. Just the simple fact that I'm here, that I'm doing what I'm doing, that I'm still alive, that I'm still pushing along. It's very, very amazing. And it's very amazing that I'm here because of somebody. That's the one thing that I'm going to say where I have a very good understanding of the honoring your parents, because you would not be here without them in reality. You wouldn't. And for some of us, especially, if your mother fed you to be able to get you here, you were incapable of doing anything in that stage. That woman did something for you to allow you to be able to get here, to be able to have the life that you have. And she was somehow able to keep up with maintaining to make sure that you had enough food every single day. You had enough baths every single day. You had enough care every single day to be able to get to the point of being able to just be alive. And that's something that is just absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. That's a miracle in itself of every single day. Every single woman with every single little baby. It's a miracle every single day. Because you're pushing forward and moving that along. And then in reality, it's not everyone, but sometimes babies die. But for the most part, for the majority, they survive somehow. Somehow, a young, I don't know if this is big or not today anymore, but I know when I was in my early teens that it was like very common in the area I was for girls at 13 and 14 and 12 to have babies. And they're somehow able to keep them alive and keep them going and keep things cruising. Somehow able to every single day, and that baby's still here and living, and it's a grown adult at this point today. It's just that's a miracle in itself right there, enough for me to be able to recognize and realize that God is real. Because I see it every day with everything that I do and everywhere that I go. And I would hope that you would try to find God in your day-to-day in your life. Realize and recognize of what it is that he's doing for you, even if you don't believe in him. That he's moving. He's helping you. He's guiding you. And if you want that more, you want to get out of that depression, you want to get out of that anxiety, you want to get out of those thoughts that you want to harm yourself all the time, just say, hey, God, I need some assistance. If you want to get out of those addictions, you want to get out of the struggle where you just, I don't know, I'm just always just making it to make it. Rely upon him and ask Jesus and say, hey, man, I'm tired of this in a way. I need something. And then just rely on him and allow him to do his work. Let him do his work. He's not instant. He's not instant. On some things, he may be instant. But on most of the stuff, it's not instant. Because in reality, we wouldn't want that. We wouldn't want to think like, I want this, and it just shows up. That I'm telling you, that may destroy you more. As opposed to just knowing that it's going to come. And that's what I'm going to say is, like, almost in reality, part of the test is having that faith of waiting on it and then watching it happen. And then when it happens, praising and worshiping God to say thank you. Thank you for allowing this to happen. It's almost a test. That's why we don't know when it's going to happen. We don't know when it's going to come. But knowing that we are just going to sit here and continue to keep asking and can continue to keep waiting and knowing that it is going to happen and knowing that it is going to be there. Thank you. It is raining. On raining today. Want to see the cows? Cows are pretty happy today. Hey girls.